So hello, Chris.
Hey Ed, how you doing?
We are here again, and we're going to look at something a little bit different, right?
Well, yeah, that's it.
Kind of not different, because we've seen
Well,
it before, but it's
been out for a little while, but it's not, it's not really out and about that much at trade shows these days. And I just thought it'd be really nice, as we've got it here, to talk a little bit about the Prophet X. Not least as well, because this has sort of rather quickly become one of my favourite instruments of all time. It's a really different type of offering to, for example, we're right underneath, right above the Prophet 5 here. We're surrounded by wonderful sequential analog stuff. But the Prophet X just sits in its own really quite unusual sort of space. So essentially it's a hybrid instrument. It's digital and analog in different sections. The oscillators, the sound generators, are very much on the digital side. We've got sort of virtual analog shapes for traditional oscillator stuff. But if you see on the mixer here, we've got four kind of mixer volumes, one for each of the traditional oscillators, but also one for each instrument. And the instruments is where it gets really fascinating to me, because these are full sample-based, multi-sample systems, multi-velocity layers, round robins, huge sample kind of libraries can be played through the Prophet X. In fact, inside here, there's I think the size of the memory is like 50 gigabytes for your own samples. You can upload your own samples into here, so you can go really to town with sample sets and stuff. And so, in essence, you can treat it like a rompler or sample player. You can get really lovely string sounds. There's some fantastic sounding presets and samples already in here. From the 8DO guys. But alongside using it in that way, it's basically, you can treat those samples as like oscillators in a synthesizer as well, which is really quite interesting and quite unusual. So, I mean, just in terms of sound, I just dialed in this one. This is called Brass Off. It's a nice little phrase there. Go on, brass off. Okay, I will. This is like a connection of a brass ensemble reversed and also a saxophone. Saxophone's reversed as well, yeah. And we've got loops as well on the samples. So, you can do lots of really kind of high-end kind of sampling kind of bass stuff with that. And then, of course, you can dial in the oscillators as well. So here we've got a super saw. So and I can bring out maybe the brass sounds. And all of a sudden, just using this mixer, let's just get a bit of fine tuning on this. And bring in the brass again. So you've almost got, you've got four essential instruments there that you can use to bring in and out as you wish. Now that's obviously, one aspect to it. These sound generators, really quite interesting. Combination of traditional analog shapes via oscillators and also using samples as well. But then we get into the filter side as well. Now, one thing that I really love about the Prophet X is it's pure stereo all over the place. So we've got the filter here, and it's stereo per voice. It's 8 voice stereo. But if I want to say, okay, well, I need more voices than 8 voices, I've got a button here that turns it into a 16 voice instrument. I've now got 16 voice mono positioning, so mono filter. But the ability to switch between stereo and 8 voice and mono 16 voice is really nice. But then again, if I hold this down, and this was an update in one of the firmwares, it's now 32 voice paraphonic. So there's a lot of scope for doing sort of really interesting stuff. I'm going to basically take it to a basic patch again. So we've just got oscillator 1 here. I'm going to dial that down. Let's bring up the instrument, and I'll just dial in. Let's go for a string sound, and I'm going to go for, let's see, what will I go for? Chamber Far. So here's the filter. Get a bit of resonance on there. I hear that filter on the strings there. It's rather nice. If I wanted to, I can obviously go to my controls here, I can split that filter. So we've got a stereo split here. So if I, now I've only got one headphone on, so I might not actually hear this, but I've now split the stereo filter into two separate positions. Just have that lovely kind of stereo movement around with that. Now let's say I want to just modulate that very quickly. Well, I can just simply, let's see, I just simply press and hold, and now the modulation's assigned from LFO1 here to the cutoff. And then I can just dial in an amount here. That's a bit of an extreme kind of thing. Let's just bring the sound down a bit. So just to kind of do the modulation stuff is really nice. But I'm going to do something else, which is a little bit of a favourite sort of trick of mine. I'm going to turn oscillator 1 into a sine wave and just bring that volume up. Let's bring all the other volumes down. And now I'm going to dial in, I'm going to find a choir sound. This is just an example. It's something that I really like to do. We've got children choir. Let's just have a listen to that. Okay, so a nice kind of multi-sample choir sound going on. Now if I bring the sound of the sample down, bring up the oscillator, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign instrument 1 as a modulation source, so that children's vowel long I, whatever that vowel is, that I'm going to now assign to the pitch of oscillator 1. So basically we've got FM from the sample in real time being passed on to the sine wave oscillator. So I'll just dial in an amount of that. So now maybe that sample's a little subtle for it. So let's change the sample to, let's see, we'll go for, I don't know, bulbul tarang, dual string. So let's try that. So we've got that modulation going in from instrument 1 into the frequency of the oscillator. I could say, okay, well actually let's do the similar thing, so I'll assign it to, instead I'll assign it to the cutoff. So we've just got a sine wave running through, but the cutoff is getting modulated by the sample. So that's just a sine wave with crazy filter stuff going on. The amount of stuff you can do with this stuff is absolutely fantastic. It really is. Like all sequential stuff, we've got a really nice sequencer on there, so I can very quickly record something in. So just tapping notes in, like so, and then a bit crazy, so just bring the amount of scope on the sound, I think, is great. I'm going to go to instrument 2. Yeah, we'll bring in a piano sound now. So anyway, yeah, that's the sequencer on there. I guess one last thing I'll mention on this that I really love to explore as well is let's just going to go back to the old initialize patch. Bring down that again. I'll go to instrument 1. On instrument 1, this time I'm going to see if I can find some. Let's see, we'll go to synths. Yeah, this is interesting. So I'll go to the synth, and I think on the instruments, where are we? Yeah, VS wavetables, there they are. So now this is a multi-sample, and if I just run up the pitch, wave shapes there of those wavetables. So let's say I like this one. Or in fact, no, let's say I like this one. Yeah, that's kind of nice. If I now press sample stretch here, what's happened is it's taken the sample that I last played and now spread that out as a single sample across the keybed range. So it's a really neat way of, kind of putting multi-samples in of different kind of one-shots and that sort of thing, and then you can just track it across the keyboard in the old kind of, the typical old school sampling kind of way. Really, really nice thing to do. If I don't like that particular sample, I'll take that off and let's find another. Yeah, that one will do. Nice kind of organy sort of wavetable. Got effects over here as well, so I'll just stick a bit of reverb on as well. Get a bit of tone in there. On the effects on this side, we can go through all loads of different things, including bring mod as well. I really love the rotating speaker. Yeah, just bring in a sine on oscillator 1, maybe bring that down an octave. It's a really powerful, interesting engine. Anyway, I've been waffling on about this and just kind of going on. But I really love this thing. And as I say, we don't see this out and about enough in the UK. So at Synthfest here in Sheffield, just to get this back out and just to talk about it a little bit, it's been a real pleasure. But yeah, it's one of my favourites for sure.
Thanks a lot, Chris.
Thanks a lot, Ed.
Amazing
Cheers.
stuff.